2nd, 2024 at 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, are we ready for a roll call?
We are, Mayor. Councilman Warner.
Here.
Councilman Martinez.
Present.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Present.
Please note Vice Mayor Langowski is out of town. Mayor O'Connor.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. If you're able, please stand and join the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have any additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda? If not, I need a motion.
Move approval of the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Warner, seconded by Councilman Martinez. Roll call. Councilman Warner.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski. Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Public comments and requests. This section of the agenda allows for comments from the public to speak. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to comment. A public comment card should have been completed and returned to the city clerk. When you are called to speak, please go to the podium prior to addressing the council. State your name and address for the record. All public comments will be noted and may receive a response if necessary. Any follow-up will be handled by staff at a later time. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, I received no previous public comment cards.
Okay. Okay. Consent agenda. This section of the agenda consists of routine or administrative items that require final approval by the city council and may be approved in its entirety by a single motion. There will be no discussion of these items unless a council member requests such, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered on a future agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Leonard, seconded by Councilman Martinez. Roll call. Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Warner.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
We have before us Resolution 2024-12, adopting a proposed millage rate for the city's general operating fund for the upcoming fiscal year. I'm sure we have some comments from council, including myself. Should we have some words from the city manager, perhaps, before we open it up?
Sure. Mayor and council, before you is basically the budget that we discussed in the last budget workshop with the same amount of revenue based upon a 5 mil, which is what our current millage rate is. I will be doing some adjustment to it, moving some items from the reserves to certain line items as they are potential increases. We're going to have some more increases because of some special master dealings that are coming up shortly and some other issues that are coming. We need to rearrange some of it. It does not impact the overall budget. The budget is the same. It's just less money would be going into your reserves. And what I'm recommending tonight, based upon the initial valuations from the tax collector, instead of a 5 mils, I'm recommending to the council a 4.95, which is a reduction from the 5. Between now and the next meeting, we will also continue to look to see if there are other areas that we can trim some on the overall budget and lower it further.
Thank you, sir. So,
Mr. Mayor, if I might,
please.
just so the council knows and members of the public who are present, pursuant to Florida statute, you're setting a millage rate tonight, just on a preliminary basis. Once you set it tonight, it cannot go any higher, but it can go lower.
Correct. Understood.
So that's why generally municipalities set it higher than they will typically come to a conclusion at the end of your budget meetings in September. But so tonight it's simply preliminary.
Thank you. So I challenged staff. We were at 5 mils. I challenged staff to bring us below 5.
Correct.
I'm happy to see that you're recommending 4.95 for today.
Correct.
If I'm understanding you correctly, we have some room between this reading and the future reading to sharpen your pencil even further
We'll continue to look at
If
areas.
possible.
We'll continue to look at areas that could be reduced or reducing what the reserves that we have discussed about having.
So I'm going to ask
I
that
know.
you sharpen it even further and let's get it even lower. Do you recall what it was before 5 last year? 5.25, was it?
Was
I think we're at 5.1.
5.1. It was 5.25 from the beginning, and then we dropped it to 5.1. We dropped it to 5.
So we went from 5.1 to 5.0,
Correct, I believe so.
and now you're recommending 4.95.
Correct.
So you're recommending half of a reduction of what we did last year?
That's correct at this point in time.
I think we should be able to do more than half of what we did last year. We should be able to do more than what we did last year. Because we've got more residents and more businesses, and I think we can figure that out. Let's open it up for the rest of the council. I've said what I needed to say.
I know we're also looking at possibly a homestead cut coming in that might
Yes, and
reduce our income. So
You're correct.
it has passed. It does not affect this budget, but it will affect next year's budget. The 25-26 budget will be impacted by the additional homestead exemptions that the state has passed. So again.
What are the
again,
unknowns that don't allow us today, but might allow us in September to cut it from 4.95 to something lower?
Depending, right now, we have a preliminary valuation from the tax collector. We get a final valuation as we get closer to our final decisions. But as what happened last year, we got a letter a couple months ago from the tax collector. We had to send them back $156,000 because of valuation charges and changes in valuation board. So they had overpaid us by $156,000. So we had to cut them a check back for $156,000. That's why as I look at the budgets, those kind of things, you only get paid once a year. You only have dollars to deal with. You have no place else to get the money. So you try to make sure that you're couched carefully enough so that you can accommodate those kind of issues if they come up.
Okay, fair enough.
Any other comments or questions from the council?
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, lowering it only by half of what we did last time seems a little low, but we're also facing challenges for next year. And we want that cushion. So we're playing on a fine line, I feel like.
Well, not next year, but 26, right?
25, 26.
I'm happy to see the number under 5, just because it looks better. But I really like you to tighten the belt. I know we run a lean government as it is, but let's tighten the belt if we can and try to find a way to at least match what we did last year. If not,
We'll take that as a challenge and see what we can do.
wonderful. So, Counselor, do we need to read the resolution? Do we open for public hearing? What's the next step?
It's not a public hearing, sir, but you would entertain
Okay.
a motion to set a preliminary rate that I can incorporate into the reso, and then I'll read the resolution.
All right, so this is not a public hearing. Okay, so I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'll move approval of Resolution 2024-12 of the City Council establishing a proposed millage rate for the city's general operating fund for fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2024 and ending September 30th, 2025.
Of
And that-
4.95.
Right.
September 30th, 2025.
I know.
The millage rate has to be stated. The millage rate would be
With a millage rate of
4.95.
4.95.
Okay.
Perfect.
I need a second.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilman Werner,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Resolution by title only, a resolution, City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, adopting a proposed millage rate for the city's general operating fund for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, and ending September 30th, 2025, providing for conflict, severability, and effective date. If you'd entertain a motion to adopt the resolution, please.
I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
Motion to, I'll move that we adopt resolution 2024-12 as stated.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Announce our public hearing date on September 3rd.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
We have a public hearing date on September 3rd.
Right. I mean, to
Mm-hmm.
the public.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's when the next
The next,
hearing is.
yeah, the next public hearing is the third day of September 2024, 6 PM at this location, at which time they will do their first vote on the budget.
Excellent.
Thank you.
We have before us Resolution 2024-13, establishing the estimated rate for the residential solid waste services special assessment for the upcoming fiscal year. Before I open for comments from the council, I will let our city manager
Yes, Mr. Mayor,
opine on this item.
the solid waste, instead of doing direct bill, we some years ago put into place that it would be part of a non-ad valorem assessment, which goes into your tax bill, so you're not having to chase down the dollars. Last year, we held the number the same as the prior year due to a error in getting the application and the notification out in time to the paper. So we had to eat the same, and we've been making it up out of our other budget. This year, the proposed amount brings us to what is currently needed for the collection services for the solid waste.
I just want to reiterate and correct me if I'm wrong. This is a 100% pass-through
That is
from
correct.
solid waste. The city makes
The
not one
the dollars that are collected here on the solid waste fee go to the hauler to haul it to the county's facility. Also on your tax bill, you'll see a county solid waste fee, which is for the disposal portion of the solid waste.
but it's a complete pass-through.
Yes, it
Not-
is.
Okay. And when we open up for public comment, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to understand. An increase from last year? I'll ask that.
Well, let's go ahead and reiterate.
The current year, I believe, is 280. Can't remember the exact. No, it's 188 on the county's disposal fee is 188. The collection fee is like 280 something dollars and some change. We'll be going to 324, which is like a 25 or $30 increase. And that includes the solid waste, yard trash, and recycling, all the collection fees.
When does that contract go to bid again?
That contract will be going out for bid later this year,
So that
at
could change.
at which time we may be able to get a better deal from the hauler and possibly be able to hold that collection fee for several years. We're of a size now that I've had 3 or 4 of the hauling companies already contact me, and we'll see how sharp their pencils are. Go forward from there.
But we're stuck with the rate here for the next year. right?
Correct, for this coming year.
What they're charging us, they're just passing it on.
Thank you.
Do we have any comments from council?
So my question was, what would be the impact to that rate once we bid it out and we were able to get a new hauler? But I think you addressed that by saying it could potentially go down
Correct.
or.
Correct. And there's some things that we're going to be putting in the contract, that the contractor, instead of the city handling the carts and replacing the carts and keeping track of the carts, that the contractor will be doing that. So
You're
it
talking about the
frees up
physical bins.
the physical bins, because that takes a lot of time and money for us to be able to do that. We have to buy the carts and we track them and we deliver them and stuff like that. So by putting that on the contractor, they're used to doing it in every one of their other contracts. Even with that, we can still probably lower our overall cost.
But we're opening it up for bid. It's a free market. We'll
Yep.
let them
Sharpen their pencils.
tell us what they can do for us.
And the fact is that because we are now at over 2,600 residents, 5,000 individuals plus, they're looking at us as a good target to business opportunity. So we're primed for bidding.
Great. And when does that go out again? One more
The end
time?
of the year.
End of this year.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Question.
Sure.
To the city manager, sir, how many homes is this being calculated on?
The number of homes that this is being calculated on is based on the number of COs that were as of January 1st of 2024. So those homes that are built between January and now have already prepaid the old rate for the rest of this year. So because there's almost a year and a half delay, we try to pre-collect, so we're not handing you a bill when you close on your house and say, oh yeah, here's your new solid waste bill as well, because that doesn't work well. So it's all calculated into your cost when you're closing on your home. You've already prepaid for the rest of this year until it hits the tax cycle. It takes almost a year to a year and a half for your house to actually get on the tax roll.
Why wouldn't it go down?
You know what? I'm going to open this up for public no, I'm just going to go ahead and open it up for public comment because there may be some other questions from the folks in the audience. Anybody who has a public comment? We'll address it. If you could come, state your name and address for the record, and then you, this is on the trash alone. Come, please, let's get all the questions out. That's okay. State your name and address for the record and.
15599 Golden Circle. So it was calculated when I looked at it, like 2,300 plus homes. So now we know we're looking at next year. This is the budget for next year. Why couldn't they have, why can't we?
County only takes it as of January 1st of 24. All of your tax rates, all of your other calculations are made as of January 1st of the year.
So
It's,
next year, like when after we now pay for more people, there'll never be a refund.
We got to go to a different meeting for that.
Any other questions or comments from the audience here, people here?
Any other jokes?
You got to state your name and address for the record and come up to the podium. Come on, gotta come up.
I think I can project everyone.
Yeah,
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am, you got to
Please
come up
step
with
forward.
all due respect.
So if you're saying.
State your name and address for the record, sorry.
15941 with a little circle.
Excellent.
So you're saying people prepay with closing, correct? So
correct,
the amount is as of January 1st, 2024.
correct.
So you're not calculating who's closing, but then they prepay
Correct.
for people who are closing. So where is that?
It's in the fund to help us pay the bill. This does not pay our entitled bill. For the money that we're generating does not, money that this assessment covers does not cover the entire bill. The balance of the bill comes out of what has already been prepaid for those that have closed to do it. It's the only way to do it, to make it cycle. But again, it was closed or calculated on the 280, even though it's going to cost us the 324, there's a lag to it because we didn't know exactly what that number was going to be until a few weeks ago.
And correct me if I'm wrong, there still
Shortfall
is
gets,
a shortfall.
shortfall gets eaten up in the rest of the budget. In the general fund budget, we'll have to cover whatever's missing.
What was happening was people were getting random bills. It's a lot easier to bake it into your taxes, versus getting hit with a $300 bill you weren't expecting.
Correct. No, I still have over, 25,000, $30,000 of outstanding receivables that people would not pay their first bill. So that's out there as well. We paid for the services, but people didn't pay.
All right. More comments from the council?
Yeah, question?
Sure.
Again, to the city manager. I haven't seen the existing franchise agreement, but I'm curious whether there's a maximum annual increase provision in there. And if not, I'd like to see that we have one in
Sure.
the next one.
In our contract, we will definitely have a maximum increase. The contract that we have was negotiated and put out by the county some years ago. We inherited it
Right.
So they have certain parameters. Now that we're going out for bid, we can tighten those parameters more to make sure that we're getting the service. Plus, we can also, the county's provisions to get rid of the hauler or to change haulers is very onerous. We can modify those kind of things for better service.
Okay, and just one final point, so everyone here knows, we're still talking 2-day-a-week service,
Correct?
and we're not going to lessen or reduce that service
No.
when we go out to bid again.
No, and all the services will still be, even as we go out for the contract. I've had haulers wanting to do us spread it out to doing Saturday services and basically my position, based upon some input from some of the council, is not while I'm the city manager. We're not going to have garbage trucks running through the city on a Saturday morning. Monday
like to sleep
Monday
in.
to Friday, and we may split the city, that one half of the city may get Monday, Thursday, the other half may get Tuesday, Friday, as we're doing now, but we will not be subdividing a community. In other words, if Groves is picked up on a Tuesday, Thursday, all of Groves is picked up. We'll be by groups, but there's no way, too many of you home, too many kids. I'm sorry, I can't in good conscience have garbage trucks and stuff through the city on a Saturday. It's just not right. So they fight me on it, but I keep saying, no, you want the contract? Here's going to be the dates. So
Any other questions from council? I'd like to entertain a motion. This is not a public hearing item, is it?
No, sir. If I can read the resolution. Resolution of City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, relating to the provision of residential solid waste services in the City of Westlake, Florida, providing for purpose and definitions, providing for legislative determinations, establishing the estimated rate for the residential solid waste services special assessment for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, directing the preparation of residential solid waste service special assessment roll, authorizing a public hearing, and directing the provision of notice thereof and providing for an effective date.
I'll move approval of resolution 2024-13 as just read by our city attorney.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Councilman Martinez. Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilman Werner,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
We have before us Resolution 2024-14, approving and authorizing the mayor or vice mayor to execute the sixth addendum to the law enforcement agreement. City manager, give us the cliff notes.
Cliff Notes is, this is our annual contract renewal with PBSO. Currently, we have 7 deputies. It takes to man 1 24-hour a day, but typically we have, most of the time, we have 2 on. They split a shift, half and half. So we have the coverage, and that accounts for the entire thing. It is about a 4% increase, if I remember correctly, over their current rates. But that's for the next year.
So it's a 4% bump.
I believe it is.
Do we recall what the bump was last year?
I think it was round 3.
Okay. Are we going to add any deputies?
Not projected in this budget year. The number of calls and the size have not received feedback from Captain Turner that we need to add any at this point in time, but we'll be definitely probably looking at it at 25,
Is there room in
26.
the budget if we need to add, if we decide we need to add a deputy?
If we need to add, you would reduce your reserves and reappropriate.
But they're only asking for 4%.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, but go ahead. Any comments from council?
No?
I mean, it's nice to hear from Captain Turner saying that our crime has been pretty low. We don't need to add another one. So it's nice we don't have to budget for it this year.
I mean, I'll say it loud and proud that I believe safety is paramount over everything else. So if they only need 4%, we'll give them the 4%. But, I'd like to have room in the budget just in case we decide we need more.
I will look at
And I
rearranging.
also want you to get the millage rate below 4.9. So figure out how to do all that.
You don't want too many miracles, do you, Mayor?
But no, PBSO has been great, and let's get them whatever we need. If there's no other comments from the council, let's have a motion.
Resolution by title only. Resolution, City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, approving and authorizing the mayor and vice mayor to execute the sixth addendum to the law enforcement services agreement between the City of Westlake, the Sheriff of Palm Beach County, Florida, providing for conflict, severability, and effective date.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt resolution number 2024-14, authorizing the mayor and vice mayor to execute the sixth addendum to the law enforcement services agreement between the City of Westlake and the Sheriff County of Palm Beach County.
Second.
You got it.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Leonard, seconded by Councilman Martinez. Roll call, Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
We have before us Resolution 2024-02, establishing certain residency prohibitions and exceptions for sexual offenders and sexual predators.
Ordinance.
We have comments from the council.
Yes. A
Mr.
question to
Mayor.
the city manager. Is this an amendment to an existing ordinance? Does it tighten up the existing ordinance?
Actually, Mr. Mayor, one correction, it's not a resolution, it's an ordinance.
It's an
First
ordinance.
reading.
Oh,
I'm
sorry, I
sorry.
was reading a scripture. It calls it a resolution.
Oh,
In
sorry
that
about
case,
that.
we also have this is a public hearing item.
Right.
It's an ordinance.
Yes.
No, sir.
No.
The public hearing will be on the second reading.
Okay.
I'll let the,
All right, so we have before us ordinance 2024-02.
correct.
Establishing certain residency prohibitions and exceptions for sexual offenders and sexual predators.
To your question, Councilman Warner, I'll let the city attorney address that.
This is going to be an amendment to the code, but it is a text amendment presenting new restrictions regarding this activity.
Okay. So it tightens up whatever we have now.
It creates a distance requirement that did not exist in the City of Westlake's Code of Ordinances, but under the Florida statutes. Consistent with case law decisions in the state of Florida, we are now increasing that distance beyond the 1,000 feet to 2,500 feet, which is consistent with other counties and cities in Florida. And it's certainly defensible. There are two court decisions upholding the 2,500-foot distance.
Fair enough. That was going to be my second question. So glad to hear that it's a defensible distance.
Excellent.
Is that from the school?
Can I read what we have here? So
Yes.
you're measuring from a distance of the property line of the residence to the property line of designated public library, daycare center, parks, playground, community center, day camp, or any other place where children regularly congregate. You're welcome.
This ordinance accomplishes what we needed to accomplish. Yes, City Attorney.
Sorry?
The ordinance accomplishes what it's intended.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Oh, she needs to come to the microphone.
Yep, you come up and state your name and address for the record. It's, Councilman Martinez, go ahead and read it again. It's from community centers, parks, dog parks, and
What's 2 miles?
Her community.
Pines, Woodlands, Napa Meadows, are all 2 miles.
Any neighborhood park that's.
Any park.
Neighborhood park
Any
that's within the
neighborhood
community would also be a point that you would measure from.
this is not the only community. center.
Any bus stop that kids normally coordinate at, all those areas are where the language is, or other place where children regularly congregate. So if you look at that, it's where they would regularly congregate as a neighborhood pocket park, at the amenity center, at bus stops. All those locations would be considered a point to which you can measure from.
You said including residences, homes,
No,
watches, those are.
You need to get these people to the microphone.
But
come to the microphone.
we gotta come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record if we're gonna chat. Sorry.
Sorry. Language of area, what's your residence? So in other words, if someone's been in your home, My children when you go home, person predator 2,500 feet. Is that what you're saying?
That's
That's
what
correct?
homes.
No, no,
This
it's,
ordinance is to limit predators from living anywhere where children may congregate.
Children may congregate in everybody's home.
In community
no,
areas
any,
or
any
public.
public area.
So that's also, there's another.
Sir, address the council, please.
I'm sorry.
Address the council.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of concerned, because I understand, it's supposed to be another park built between
Correct.
Pines and Woodlands. So that's another park there.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
the
sir.
thing. This keeps predators from living anywhere near those areas.
Okay, now predators, we're talking about people that are renting here also,
No, no.
live here?
Any sexual predator, anybody who's been,
And how would we know that? I'm sorry.
there's a registry that exists.
Okay. Me, I'm a little shaky, but I have autistic children, so, you know, my children look like a mother, and that's, they're beautiful.
This would
They're
protect
in
them.
another world, so I just want to know exactly what I'm paying you.
I understand. I appreciate you coming up to express your concern. Everyone else has the same concern. So
What, dealing with autistic children is not, it's not the same. I beg to differ, and try to challenge you and everything, but, it's just a safety thing. I'm really concerned about that. I hope you don't mind.
no, absolutely. That's why we encourage you to come up and express your concerns.
The essence of the ordinance is to prohibit known predators from living anywhere that our children, anywhere near where our children may congregate. And I have a 3-year-old and a 15-month-old myself.
I'm a little concerned because when I came, all due respect, I'm sorry.
Then you gotta adjust the council.
Well, I'm a little concerned because the day I signed and I bought my home, they said that there was nobody supposed to be renting, you know, homes or renting them out, whatever it was. And then all of a sudden, people started to rent homes. I'm not trying to say that's a good thing or bad, don't get me wrong. You know, but how do I know who's living there? You know what I mean? How do we know that? You know?
It's up to the HOA.
Split second.
So you gotta address the council, not the
I'm
audience.
sorry. So anything could happen in a split second. So I'm just, you know, I'm really concerned.
Yes.
I believe if you read your HOA documents, in every one of the HOAs and in the master HOA, there's a provision, if you're going to rent your house, you have to submit the person to the HOA to be approved and checked out by the HOA prior to you renting the house. If you're not doing that, or somebody's not doing that, that is an issue that the HOA needs to take up with whoever that homeowner is.
Are you referring to a background check and to?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Andy Moisedes, 15506 Orchard Drive. So my question is actually piggybacking off his. What is the resolution when it comes to somebody that bypasses the HOA bylaws? So basically, what happens when that owner has decided to do a for lease by owner and doesn't tell the HOA what's going on?
That's an HOA issue that they have to handle. It's not a city issue. It's a violation of the HOA contracts, covenants, and restrictions under which they bought their home. It becomes an HOA issue.
Okay, so once that happens, then the HOA says, okay, you are out of basically, right. So what happens in that case? Like, how does the city get involved in that aspect? Is there any?
If we don't, we're out of it until the HOA comes to a conclusion on it. They have to take it from here.
Okay, thank you for explaining. Appreciate it.
Chad Isaacson, 15398 Goldfinch. What really brought this to the attention is Crestwin. There's no playgrounds in Crestwin that I'm aware of. There's no kids at the pool that I'm aware of where they normally congregate. So what does that do to stop the Crestwin issue of them renting to it? Because there's, you know, that
They have-
2,500 distance is.
If I may, they have a community center. So this ordinance changes what was not in place previously.
And Crestwind does have children congregating at our swimming pool, in our,
Absolutely.
That's why the terminology was written the way it was written.
Good evening, Larry Hatchidakis, 5580 Starfish Road. What does the term living mean? What's?
Residing.
Residing.
If a person is visiting somebody
No, sir.
for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, extended stay,
It's not a residence. It's a visitor. It's residing.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, what, is there a timeline?
That would have to be up to the HOA. The city can't monitor residents coming and going.
Right.
But they,
Okay.
just so you know, under state statute, these offenders are required to register their location. So law enforcement agencies know where they are.
So in this case, obviously, somewhere in the HOA, somebody failed or didn't disclose.
I don't know.
Okay, well, we can talk about it another day. Question number 2, is there any area now with this new ordinance that a sexual predator can live or reside, whatever term you want to use? Does this cover the entire town of Westlake?
Yes, sir.
So
When it covers, it's enforceable within the town.
that's what I mean. So according to this ordinance, there's no place in the geographic boundary of Westlake that a sexual predator can reside.
I don't know about that, sir. We have measured every possible.
Well, that's the purpose of the ordinance. is
No,
to-
it's not, sir. It's to create a distance requirement. It's not
Okay.
to prohibit. I want to make that very clear. We can't legally prohibit that, but we can regulate the distance 2,500 feet. If that extremely limits the opportunities for individuals who are sexual predators, then that will be the case. But this is not a total prohibition.
Okay, well, I think it's important.
Well, that's
For
what I want to make it very
public
clear so you understand.
Okay, that's
We
good.
can't legally impose a total prohibition.
Can you increase the distance or is
No,
it state
sir.
statute?
I would not recommend it to the council. The reason being state statute's 1,000 feet.
Okay,
Municipalities and counties in Florida have expanded it to 2,500 feet, and that's been upheld by the courts.
okay.
So that we're on solid legal ground. Should we
Okay, that's
go
good enough.
any further? It could be considered
Yeah, I'm
arbitrary.
not trying to be argumentative with you. I'm just,
No, but
you know.
I'm trying to address, it's a fair question.
it's,
So
this
it's
is
not an
kind of a
arbitrary
shock.
number that I picked out of the air.
It's kind of a shock that you discover somebody is living in one of our communities who's a sexual predator, not one, but 2. So you got to understand, people are a little upset. We come.
Sure, I understand. I represent municipalities. It's a common issue, unfortunately, in a lot of municipalities.
Okay.
Well,
Well, hopefully-
I don't mean to say common, but cities have had to address it before Westlake. And that's why we're modeling this ordinance as well in other communities that have been successful in regulating residents of this nature.
Also have a question on the budget. Do I have to sit down again or
Yes.
sit down again?
Yes. That'll be for public comment at the end. Sorry. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Cindy Winnick. My address is 159.
Ma'am, you need to pull that microphone down.
I'm too short.
Or a step stool.
15944. Key Biscayne Lane. I'm so nervous. You can go to the county clerk's office, under the FOIA law, and it will tell you who lives in your neighborhood. You just have to look up your neighborhood. So it's the clerk of county courts of Palm County. And you can find out who is in your neighborhood, if there are predators in your neighborhood, anything you want to know, what your neighbor's house cost.
Correct. Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Just another point, if anyone were to measure any distances, keep in mind we're also building new parks in the city that will also limit distances in the future. So if there are any pockets you might find right now, we are building more parks, which are going to limit the distance.
And every one of our gated neighborhoods have a bus stop. So state your name and address for the
Jessica
record.
Lamage, 15941 Whippoorwill. So say the city ordinance passes,
Mhm.
how long does it take to take effect? And
So if I may, this is first reading. We'll have one more reading. If motion carries here, we'll have one more reading next month, and then it becomes law.
that would supersede the HOA.
And it would supersede the existing ordinances that are currently in place.
So let me just say that ordinance also speaks to the people who are currently living here would remain here to the end of their lease. So this does not give us authority or the city to,
Okay, but if they didn't get HOA approval,
That's an HOA issue.
right, that's what I'm asking. So does the city ordinance supersede the HOA?
No.
If they did not legally go
No,
through the
ma'am.
right.
No,
No.
that's a
No.
violation of their covenants or restrictions when they bought their home. That's the HOA issue to take care of.
Hi, I'm Robert Port, 5273 St. Vincent Lane. Has the council considered another facet of this whole thing, particularly with the individuals we're referring to, in that it seems that there's a business being operated in this facility, in the home, which brings up a whole other set of issues in terms of operating a business from a residential home.
you are
Right.
correct.
So
Correct.
Attorney, do you want to comment so that we don't have to?
No kidding. I mean, all kidding aside, that would be a code enforcement issue. And if you know of that type of activity, please bring it to the city's attention and we'll explore it for a code violation.
Right.
No, but it requires, under the statute, a formal complaint with a name and address so we can act upon that complaint. Code enforcement with the
enforcement.
city.
Mr. City Manager, do you want to
And
comment?
and you
Can
can,
you comment?
you can also copy me on your complaint, on your formal complaint, but it does have to have your name and address and a complaint for code to do it, to start the enforcement process. If anybody's operating a business without a business license within the city, you can file on any of them because they all need to have a business tax receipt to operate a business within the city. Now, if somebody came in to operate this kind of a business within the city, they would not be issued a business permit license because they would not be able to qualify under the distance requirements.
There's an issue of burden of proof here that there is an actual business being conducted.
Correct.
Mr. City Manager, does this ordinance in any way affect or further limit any type of those types of business activities?
No, sir.
Um,
That's a separate issue. And we're presently working on that type of approach for enhancement of enforcement opportunities for the city.
Right.
Just for the general population, I will tell you that in the bylaws of the HOA for Crestwind, in 12.6, it states, no daycare center, halfway house, or assisted living facility may be operated out of a home.
So it's really an HOA
Right.
violation.
Yes.
Right.
If it can be proven that it's such.
Just a follow-up question with the city manager or city attorney. Those businesses, halfway house and whatever else Mr. Port read just a moment ago, do those constitute businesses subject to a city business license?
I believe they do, correct?
Especially, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, the answer is yes. And then if a complaint were to be filed with the city, would that then become an intervention
That would
with the
start
HOA?
that would start triggering the city side of the code enforcement process in addition to the HOA,
In addition
whatever they're
to.
doing.
Have any complaints been filed thus far?
I have not received any formal written complaints to date.
Take a motion.
We read by title?
Yes, sir.
You have to close it.
Ordinance by title only, an ordinance the City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, establishing certain residency prohibitions and exceptions for sexual offenders and sexual predators, providing for findings and intent, providing for definitions, penalties, providing for codification, conflicts, severability, and effective date.
I'll move approval of ordinance number 2024-02 of the City Council of the City of Westlake establishing certain residency prohibitions and exceptions for sexual offenders and sexual predators, providing for findings and intent, and providing for definitions, penalties, and codification, conflict severability, and effective date.
A second.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Now I have a
Mr.
question
Mayor.
for council.
Mr. Mayor.
What avenue,
Let
sorry,
me make a statement for you. I think it may be where you might be going. Currently, the second reading would be at the next regular scheduled council meeting. You can, if you so desire, call a special council meeting to have the second reading sooner than the next meeting, which would be in August. The date, in order to have the proper notifications in the paper and stuff, you would have to have your special meeting on July 16th at 5:30 PM, if you so desire.
so that was going to be my question, is how early can we, if I don't want to wait the month for the second reading, how soon can we have a second reading? Can we have an emergency hearing? Can we? So the question is, the answer is,
Yes.
You can call a special meeting. I've spoken with the clerk. We can get the ads out and stuff in time. The earliest we can make it happen would be July 16th at 5:30, if you so desire to have a special meeting at that time to have the second reading for this ordinance.
is there any conflict with the council for having a meeting on Tuesday, the 16th? At what time?
5:30 PM.
5:30?
I'm
It'll be
there.
a very short meeting.
I'm available.
I'm available.
Can't have the special meeting immediately following this meeting?
No, there's proper
I'm joking.
advertising and stuff. Yes.
Just so you understand, Mayor, the statute requires you cannot have any meeting until 10 days have elapsed since the
Okay.
ordinance is published.
I'm not opposed to having a special meeting at 5:30 PM on Tuesday, the 16th.
Do we need a motion?
Yes, please.
I'll move approval of our second reading to be held on July 16th at
Sir,
5:30
excuse
PM.
me, would you call,
Ordinance number
Special
20.
meeting. Call a special
rather than
meeting.
that, you need to, your motion should be to call a special meeting.
Okay, I'll move that we conduct a special meeting on July 16th for the purpose of approving ordinance number 2024-02.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Werner, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call. Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Sure, let's do Ms. Kaplan first. She had her hand up.
I scheduled the Education Advisory Board meeting on July 16th, so should we go to another location or?
No, we'll just have our meeting at 5:30. I believe yours is at 6 o'clock. That's why we scheduled it for 5:30.
Yep. We have a quick meeting.
We have the room
I have a feeling
available.
it'll be a quick.
We've rented the room, so we've got the room, so.
What's the purpose, and this may sound a little stupid at the beginning, what's the purpose of the ordinance? Because several times I heard the city manager say, oh, well, that's not our problem, that's the HOA. So why do we need an ordinance if it keeps, you guys can't do nothing, it's gotta go to the HOA. So what's the purpose of the ordinance versus just saying, hey, your HOA needs to deal with it, not us?
No,
City.
the ordinance would, you want to go ahead, Mr. Attorney?
What's the penalty if you get caught doing it? What's the penalty?
It's enforceable now.
Yeah.
Where it
Well,
wasn't
yeah,
before.
now we can enforce it.
Enforce
The
it.
basically, the ordinance really creates a distance requirement for anybody who wants to purchase a home or rent a home in Westlake, 2,500 feet.
So we find out someone's renting, so the ordinance is solely to keep anyone from officially renting or buying that's a sexual predator. So if someone's caught, the city has nothing to do with it, it's the HOA, clear? Is that correct?
It would depend on the situation, case by case basis, because I don't know what's going on presently.
I'm just saying, is there a penalty to say, well, you?
It would be a code violation, and we probably would go against the homeowner as well.
Okay. New business. Update to City of Westlake's Housing Assistant Guidelines, Resolution 2024-15, adopting the City of Westlake's revised Housing Assistance Purchase Program yearly guidelines.
Resolution by title only, a resolution of City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, approving and adopting the City of Westlake's revised Housing Assistance Purchase Program yearly guidelines for the purposes of updating, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date.
Questions or comments from the council? I'll just say this was a long time coming and a much needed change. If there's no further discussion, I'd like to entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt resolution 2024-15, approving and adopting the City of Westlake's revised Housing Assistance Purchase Program, yearly guidelines, providing for conflict, severability, and providing an effective date.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Leonard, seconded by Councilman Martinez. Roll call. Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Werner.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Council comments? Councilwoman Leonard,
No comments, Mayor.
Councilman Martinez.
Can we talk a little bit about what we just approved, the HAPPY program? It went pretty quick. Maybe our residents don't know what's going on. That one went pretty quick. Yeah, it was a little quiet in the room. So our HAPPY program has been here since the inception of Westlake, where it's affordable housing for workforce personnel, depending on what you're qualified in, healthcare professional, teachers, firefighters, policemen, and the such. Based on the price of the home that you're buying and your total annual income for the house, you get a grant through the city up to $25,000 per person. For one person, if you have one more, it's an extra $10,000. So for up to a max of $35,000 for the purchase price of your home for a first-time home buyer. So if you're anyone looking to buy a home, first-time home buyer, they can get up to $25,000 or $35,000 to help towards their new purchase. That's a program that we have in Westlake. When you purchase your home, $1,500 is collected on every new sale of a house and every resale of a home. That's put into a fund that we have. This fund is isolated. It's only used for that. We currently have around $4 million in the fund. So if everyone was approved for $35,000, we would be able to approve over 100 applicants for $35,000.
I'll actually expand on that. It's not limited to first-time homebuyers. It's if you haven't, I believe it's 3 years.
There's a definition for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's a definition for it.
So like,
Definition in the is first time, in the guidelines is first-time home buyer is someone who has not owned or owned and occupied a home within the last 3 years. In other words, you might be renting for 3 years. If you owned a home before that, but you've been renting for 3 years, you would qualify as a first-time home buyer. There is one of the categories that is exempted from that are veterans. Veterans, it does not count. They're exempted from that 3-year window. And it does expand our program more in line with what the state Hometown Heroes housing program is. And that's what it was intended. And the original intent was to figure out how to help people over that hurdle. I mean, a lot of us in the room probably have been there. When we first bought it was like you were that much short or you were that much short. This is to help people get over that hump so they can get into their first house. Because once you get into the first house, you start being able to build equity and you can continue to grow and you can continue to move upward. That is the whole intent of this whole program from the beginning. And it was initially initiated by John Carter and some of us as we were talking about how do we help people get into homes better than what the county did, where they had 15 or $20 million and they didn't put one person into a house. So I believe we've already helped 25 or 30 or 40 families already that have participated in the program. And it does really help those that need that leg up.
veterans, teachers, nurses, active military.
It's on the website and it'll be updated with what's in the agenda. If you read the agenda that's out today, in the full
Called our
package.
HB program, which is actually an acronym that I can never say, but it's Housing Assistance Purchase Program. I don't know what the Y
Annually.
stands for, but it's
Yearly.
yearly. But it's a great program, really designed to do workforce housing better than what the county wants to do, and get not only people who need a leg up, but the type of people we want to attract into the city, those teachers, those nurses, those firefighters, law enforcement, so on and so forth.
Now, all we need are some workforce jobs.
There we go.
They're coming.
Yes, there are many parameters, your income, the price of the home that you're purchasing.
There's a number of
For the
parameters.
most part, it's tethered to FHA's first-time home buy, even though it's not specifically first-time home buyers, it's tethered to their guidelines, which now, I mean, that was one of our issues is we didn't have a lot of inventory that qualified, but now with the terraces, you could get a new place for less than 400. There's a lot of options.
It's looking like you can get single family now, looking at our,
The current maximum price is 568, 557.
that's a huge number to be able to buy a single family home.
So if you know anybody who wants to move to the city of Westlake, it's a great option.
Excuse me, Mayor, you're still in the middle of.
Yeah, we were in public comment.
Right, and
We were
my
in
comment is I
public
wanted to go over the happy
All
program.
right, so we've gone over,
Yeah.
if you just give it a moment, we'll do public comments very soon, I promise.
I'm happy we went over the happy program, revamped it, brought it back to life. I look forward to seeing all the applicants we can approve for it.
Excellent. Councilman Werner?
Oh, I promised you I'd be quiet tonight.
Okay. I will use my council comments to say Fourth Fest is 2 days away. I hope to see everybody there. It is a wonderful, wonderful event. It's our third annual. We've got tons of food trucks, tons of entertainment, everything for the kids. And probably the best fireworks show, if not one of the best in all of the county. So please come celebrate America's freedom with us. It's in the big, huge field that will eventually be our town center. That's where Fourth Fest is held. You
It's
can't miss it.
directly out the front door. Kingfisher will be closed down. There'll be 24 food trucks on Kingfisher, over 20 market vendors, plus the bounce houses, plus a kids zone, plus the stage, plus music. So there's a lot of
It's an
things
incredible
happening.
event with
and
a
it's
22-minute
22
fireworks.
minute fireworks.
So
show.
please, I hope to see everybody at Fourth Fest and bring your friends, your family, anybody who wants to come. Let's move on to staff reports, and then eventually we will get to public comments.
Fire, please.
Chief?
One of you.
Good evening. Nice to see you all. I'll start with the response time report. Can you hear me?
Yep.
For the month of June, there was only 47 responses to the city of Westlake. Sure. 47 responses to the city of Westlake. I'm a little challenged here vertically. We had a total overall average dispatch handling time of 39 seconds, an average turnout time of 57 seconds, an average travel time of 5 minutes and 15 seconds for a total overall average response time of 6 minutes and 51 seconds. And 61% of those calls were medical calls, medical related calls. And we are also going to be here to celebrate the 4th with you all. Engine 22 will be here for the opening ceremonies, and then they'll be back again to be on standby, fire watch for the fireworks display. And you'll also have our reserve battalion here, and they'll have a medical tent up, and they'll be here for the entire event.
You bringing the big flag?
We are not,
Oh,
unfortunately, I'm sorry. But Engine 22 does
Get our
have,
ask in early enough.
Can we
Yes.
request the big flag
for next year, ready?
now,
You
please?
got it.
That should be
You
a
got it.
standing-
I will put it on the calendar.
Please.
You and every other city wants it. I will put it on the calendar though for next year.
Somehow get it to us. I would really appreciate it.
All right. You got it. But engine 22 does have not that big, you know,
Do we have a little flag?
they have a 5 by 8 foot flag that they will affix to the side of their engine. And you have 2 other flags that will be at your ceremony as well.
Right.
So,
Try to go for the
sorry.
big flag.
Any other questions?
Chief, is there any change to the staffing happening at 22? Did I hear that?
Very preliminary, but it was requested in the budget to add additional command staff, battalion chiefs and EMS captains to Battalion 2. We currently have 3 battalion chiefs and 3 EMS captains that respond, cover all of Battalion 2. So it's been requested in the budget, not yet approved. We will not know that probably till late August. It will be for fiscal year 2025, which starts in October. If it is approved to add additional command staff to the Battalion 2 complement.
Excellent.
Okay,
Awesome. Thank you.
you're welcome. Happy, healthy, safe 4th, everybody.
Thank you.
Catton? Thanks for coming.
It's good to be back. It's been a while since
Yeah.
I've had a Westlake meeting. I feel comfortable enough to make Darla deal with Loxahatchee Groves now. So I can start coming back to these meetings. Not to put another city out like that, but it's just different. Just to cover a couple small things. I know we touched on this earlier, staffing wise. For those of you that don't know, staffing wise, we have 3 deputies on day shift, 3 deputies on night shift, and we have an afternoon deputy. So that way we can overlap when you have the afternoon issues, if there's concerns or traffic or school or whatever we might have. We can have that deputy stay over in the afternoons. We can switch the days that they work, so they cover different days. When you have the holidays like July 4th, we can make sure we have multiple deputies on without any overtime being incurred. If you haven't figured out yet, I don't think, I know you bring in permit deputies for some of it, but a lot of the stuff, I'll still have our deputies, especially Bert Gaudreau and our street team guys, we come in and we do it for free majority of the time. So we try to help out wherever we can with that. So staffing wise, I think you're in good shape. I think you'll be in good shape for a little while longer. I'm gonna kind of keep saying we don't need any more deputies till we have a building to put them in. Maybe.
Hopefully that comes.
Hopefully the county will do something.
Hopefully. I know we've been 4 years now. I think we've been waiting. So hopefully in the next year or 2, maybe we get something. I know people had concerns about a fight video that went around.
Yes.
Last week. There was actually 3 different videos that surfaced. Which was 2 different events. So we've identified 4 of the kids involved in it, including one person that wasn't involved. Well, actually 5 total. One that was not involved in the fight, that was a local resident that gave us some information. They are kids that live in the acreage. All the kids live in the acreage. None of them live in Westlake from anyone that we've identified.
Wow.
We are looking at it possibly being a little bit of a trend.
It wasn't a spontaneous event.
It was not. There was a car parked here and kids were just kind of hanging out. And when the other car showed up, they all got out. They got into the fight. They were back in their cars and they were gone in less than 5 minutes. By the time the deputy got dispatched and came here 3 minutes away, they were gone. But it's happened twice now. So one of my detectives is, like I said, he's identified at least 4 of the kids that were involved in the fighting. And this is something he's going to continue watching social media and some other things because, as you know, kids put everything on social media. So it makes it so much easier to identify them. But yeah, that's why we have job security. But we are monitoring it and we're following it, and I'll keep you guys in the loop and exactly what we find out. But we are working towards actually sitting down with the kids and their parents trying to put a stop to it. We just got a little bit more background checks to do for it. If anybody has questions in the audience that would like to get a little more update on stuff for the sexual predator stuff, I'll be more than happy to sit with you afterwards off the record from the meeting and we could talk. Other than that.
Appreciate that.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Other than that, as far as crime, there were 7 property crimes last month in the entire city.
Were those construction?
5 of them were larcenies, 3 of them from construction sites, and 2 of them were vandalisms, doorknob, and one of them was a construction site, one wasn't. So I just got that report out, I believe, today.
Yeah.
So it's when you have the meeting on the 2nd, it's tough to get the monthly done in time.
Right.
So, but really, yeah, like you're saying, crime still hasn't, even with this amount of construction that you have going on here, it's still, it's always stayed pretty low. I think we have a good system in place. We're all over the place as much as we can be. John works with us very well still with everything that happens out here. Sometimes it's difficult to identify some of the issues, especially when you have small things being taken out of homes because you have so many homes under construction. You have so many construction crews working at one time. You have zero way to identify who works on what sites. And we do think that some of the issues that we have are between different sites and different construction crews. But we haven't seen a lot of the big ticket items being taken, or like the fridges and the stoves, and many things as circuit breakers still, little box of breakers getting taken. I think that's several of the larcenies we had this month. So
I want to give quick recognition, not to interrupt, but to the Citizens Observer Patrol unit that you have out here. I think, extra eyes for you guys is a great thing. They're doing a great job.
And if anybody wants to join, I know we've brought this up a couple times. It's funny because Arden has a couple people, I think, that live in here that actually kind of drive through Arden, which is weird. I'm not calling anybody out again, but so if anybody wants to join, I just, a Citizen Observer, we'd like to have a vehicle that they do a little bit of training with the sheriff's office. They actually get issued a car, some uniforms. And what they do is they drive around, and if you see something, you can call on the radio into our dispatch, and they'll bring a deputy over right away to try to get involved. And it's just more eyes that we have that can drive around, and another vehicle that it says Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office on it. So just seeing the car driving around will make people think twice. And that's dependent on the HOA section. Each HOA has the right to say whether or not they want us in their section. And some have made it known that they don't, and most of them have said they do. So honestly, it's determined by each individual HOA. So, any other questions?
I saw ATV trainings you guys are doing out there behind.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Do you get to do it? No. Yes, we do. We have a couple of ATVs. We still have some land out in the back here that we have pickup trucks that we'll bring back there, but and a lot of the roads being paved now, so there's less and less as we go by. But there's a lot of land out here that we take the ATVs out for, and we have some other UTVs that we'll bring up for that also. And we're Westlake, when they first became a city, they were very, very nice, and they actually bought us one. So it's a Westlake UTV that we drive around out here and get dirty a lot. And the mayor's been in it; he saw what it can do.
Pretty cool. I think you have a question.
The deputy question.
Sure.
Talking about probably the safest community in each county. Also, what happens if there's a problem? God forbid, an active shooter. We only have 3 units a day. How fast can you guys surge units from the other districts to come out here if we have a problem like at midnight on a?
That's a great question.
I can tell you this: if you have an active shooter anywhere in Palm Beach County, the response, you're going to have 10 to 15 units there in the first 10 minutes.
Or even here?
Anywhere.
Yes.
Right, but you have the acreage that's all around you, which I also oversee. So we have 5 or 6 or 7 to 10 deputies that are in the acreage area, which drives through Westlake. It literally encompasses this whole area right around you. And then we have our District 3, which is on North Lake right up here. So North Lake to here is pretty quick too. We have my other area, Loxahatchee Groves, which is 10 minutes, driving code 3 at midnight, 4 minutes. And there's always motor units, tactical units,
there's so many other units that are available at night. We have probably 175 to 200 deputies on the road at night. So yes, it doesn't matter where you are in this county, the response is gonna be very fast.
Thank you.
It would be faster.
So-
to get to-
I'm gonna say that.
Do you work for, no, sorry.
No, I'm gonna
gonna be
say
a
that
PR
with our contract with PBSO, we have the full resources of PBSO, which is an extremely well-funded organization. For instance, a few years ago, we had a special needs child go missing. And I want to say within 10 minutes, they had mobile command units set up. They had drones in the air that looked like what you see in the movies with black and white images, bombing Afghanistan or whatever. They had K-9 units out here. It was quick, it was fast. And, fortunately, they recovered the child within an hour, I want to say.
Yeah.
But it
yeah,
was,
once they get that track going.
it was incredible to see. It was the first time we ever had to see the full resources of what we had. It was raining. They had the pilot in the helicopter waiting for favorable weather. I mean, it was incredible to see what we get for our money. And that's why I don't blink at a 4% increase. Thank you.
You have another question? Yeah.
Yeah, kind of just to piggyback off what you asked. How often do you guys train with Palm County Fire Rescue
For major incidents?
for your active shooter, right? You do have.
Well, we do. They do PIM teams. They do training. That's maybe like an every other year thing. They used to do it yearly. But what we do have is our tactical guys do the training with them regularly because they're fire rescue personnel that are cross certified, with our SWAT teams and tactical guys.
Those were are specifically designed for the.
Right.
I'm talking about Station 22, something goes out at some rig.
Yeah.
Right, well, here's the always, and I know you guys create a system and all that stuff, but how often do
They do, but the first thing they call for is on-duty SWAT. So when they say that, and they have people coming, every on-duty SWAT officer heads to the school. So yes, you have people that are here, well, if it's an active shooter situation at a pool, this could be over before the SWAT guy gets there. And it's gonna be over before the pin, you're not putting pin teams up. I'm gonna tell you, a dog on the street I was on a SWAT team for a while. I ran our training that did dealt with active shooter training in schools. The first thing you do is the first two people that go to bed. You see a lot of situations that, and you, I hate to see it, but you watched it with, and I'm not gonna name any schools, sports or anything else. But I'll tell you that it disgusts me and it disgusts many of the deputies I work with when we see a school shooting go out and we see officers not going in. I throw stuff that makes me giddy, and my wife has to calm me down. I see that because I am so angry. Because everything we do in our, you get there, you pair up with somebody, you go in. As long as you hear shooting, you're going after the shooter, and you're stopping the threat. That's your training. And you pair up, and the first dozen, they all do in school. And then you start setting up your perimeters, you start setting up everything else afterwards. But everybody that gets out there right away goes to the school. You don't go up to the door, you don't go to anything else. We have badges now with all the schools throughout the entire county, so we show up at any school, we have the school badges to get in. It doesn't matter, we don't have to wait for their school police, we don't have to wait for anything else, we go in. And that's what we do, and this is, I don't care if it was the shooting you had over in Publix, I don't know how many people have been here for a long time, the Publix, so. It's disastrous as that was. We had 4 officers in there with less than 5 minutes. And it was a horrible situation, but they're there. The school, they had, it was a false alarm and active shooter at the school that's a block away from there on Okeechobee Boulevard. And we probably had 130 officers there. The high school shooting that they had over on Forest Hill Boulevard, by the turnpike, there was a football game over there. They had a shooting. We probably had 130 officers there. We had so many officers that we had to tell people. But we do, the resources are there. They're going fast, they're going in hard. And then afterwards, we worry about, like, when we do the training, we push it, but like the kids were dressed up with blood and guts and all the stuff, and we're going in, we're pushing them out of the way. Trying to explain to them, we don't stop for injured people, because if we stop to take care of injured people, more people get shot. So you can't do that. So you don't worry about the 10 teams in front. We go in until we stop. And right.
Thank you.
Is that, okay. Maybe.
Passion.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, I have video. I have 3 different videos from the fights.
In here, cameras to view, that's what, so.
The videos that he's talking about.
All the videos were from calls.
Right.
That's the master HOA issue to address
city.
is the question. This is HOA property that we rent for the meetings. So if your question is that, ask the master HOA if they have cameras or are they going to put cameras? I know they have a lot of them around the pool area. But I don't know what they have out here. I have not been advised of that. Thank you, Captain.
Fire rescue?
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you, Captain.
Mr. City Attorney, what do you got for us?
No comment other than happy 4th of July.
Mr. City Manager?
2 items. Just as a follow-up with what the captain was speaking, every year before school starts, the principal gets with myself, the captain and fire as to the evacuation routes, et cetera, in case of a mass event type of situation. So that's coordinated every year. Sometimes they go north, sometimes they go south, but it's all coordinated so that everybody knows where to go. The other thing is, yes, happy 4th. Hope to see you all out here. Pray there's no more rain. I need the field to dry out.
Weather looks.
We will be changing the orientation from last year. Last year was east-west. This year, the center, I don't want another mud bog like I had last year. So we're going to relocate further to the east where it's drier and do more of a north-south setup. So hopefully we won't have some of the issues we had last year, but I'm monitoring it on a hourly basis and checking how much dampness we have out there and the best, driest place to use.
Is that all you got for us, Mr.
That's
City
it.
Manager?
That's it.
All
That's all the
right,
damage I can do tonight.
let's open up for public comment. If we have any comments from the public, raise your hand and come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Mayor, I did have a public comment card from Ms. Christina if she still wishes to speak.
Well, let's do that one first then. Hi.
A little louder. Little louder. No,
He must have turned it off.
Mike died.
Well, hopefully everyone can hear me. My name is Christina Hachidakas. I live at 5580 Sarvis Road in Councilman Warner, and Councilman Martinez very nice to put a base to the name. And I just wanted to comment about the fights. That's why I came. And I love Westlake. I'm sure everyone agrees with we all love Westlake and need to be a peaceful community. And I just don't want Westlake to turn into the WWE. And I would be they were taken down. But I really appreciate the response and that's have to be addressed, and hopefully we don't have to be able to see in the future, but they definitely are playing guns.
Yeah, thank you for sending those
Yeah,
videos.
Thank you. We're taking it very seriously. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who was up for public comment? Just one more time, please state your name and address for the record. We're working on a mic. If you could project, that would be great.
Name's Cindy Lily. Stan Lane. Comment that I made earlier about going to the Palm Beach County clerks is for the public, not for you guys. I'm sure you know about the FOIA law. If you want information about what's going on around you, go to the clerk of courts of Palm Beach County, and you will find what you need to find. If there's a pedophile, a felon, it'll all be there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Mary Ellen Manning, 15780 Crestwind Place. I wanted to say that my husband and I weren't blessed with children, but I do appreciate that there are many people here that were for, specifically for the sex offender ordinance correction. I want to commend you for not only making those corrections, but also taking up your own time to make a special meeting. I think that kind of went by a little fast. So people should recognize you for, I think, and thank you for taking the extra time and inserting an extra meeting so that that could be accelerated and people can feel more safe. So I just want to say thanks, and I'm sure everybody agrees. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other comments from the public?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good to see you again. Theodore Sarandis, 15780 Crestwind Place. I really want to compliment you as someone who has attended for many, many years numerous government and elected official meetings. This is clearly the most citizen-friendly council meeting that I have ever attended.
Well, thank you.
Outstanding. And in keeping with that, I would like to propose a suggestion that I hope that you and the city clerk can work with. We had some discussion, obviously, on the sexual predator issue, and I echo my wife's comments. Were appreciative of the July 16th special meeting. But I would like to see if you can work with the city clerk and perhaps the legal counsel, and we can develop some consistency with regard to the meeting agenda. And I would ask that rather than public comments that you have on items on the agenda that you're going to vote for at the beginning, we had that one element, obviously, on the sexual predator issue where you allowed citizen comments prior to the vote. I would encourage you and urge you to allow for citizen comments prior to each vote that the council is going to take. I think that that is something that can be really, really useful. So prior to each element, prior to the city clerk calling for the vote, I would ask that you organize the future city council agendas and special meetings in such a way where the public will have an opportunity to comment prior to the vote on each particular element. That would be really, really helpful. And we've got a terrific turnout tonight. We've got about 30 citizens. So I would also ask you to kindly advise the city clerk to prepare for more meeting agendas, because we ran out of meeting agendas tonight because there were so many interested citizens. Thanks so much.
Appreciate that. Thank you. We have one hand up first and then.
Good evening. My name is Orlando Echeverria, 5211 Liberty Lane in the Orchards. My wife and I are having an issue. See a lot of people, I went to the HOA about this, that people are fishing in the lakes and they just walk in the back of your property, you know, just like that. And whether they live here and whatever it is, and I think it is a problem. And to me, in my situation, I can't speak for everybody else, but I didn't, you know, come here to everybody just walk in the back of my property, decide to go fishing. You know, I humbly request if it can be done, start posting signs or something. It's a waste of law enforcement's time, or we call the cops or whatever it may be. That's a waste. And I think that whether they own or whether they rent, I don't see anybody really catching a big fish. You know what I mean? I've got in contact with there's been. Now, I have videos of matter of fact, I spoke to the trappers. I went to SRD and I spoke to them. We had a great, you know, communication. And they caught one with a 9-footer right in front of me. Right behind one is running right now, 7-foot. And you can see it when they're coming back, they're aggressive. So I'm not sure what could be done, but I would really appreciate that. And, you know, there's kids, you know, and of course they'll say, oh, well, this is Gators, this is Florida, it's friendly. I don't think anybody asked them if they wanted to be friends with them. You know what I mean? You know, Gators are out there, you know, but if we don't want a catastrophe happening, if we could prevent it, let's prevent it. I always believe that we should be making the initiative. It's not going to cost much. And I'm sure we could be within the budget, because I'm not a social media person. I'm really not. I'm really old school, right? You want to kind of contact me, you call me, right? But something has to be done. And I tried with the HOA, right? But I figured this would be the perfect time. And I'm sure everybody can relate that, right? There's a problem. We don't know who it is. There's homes that are being rented and they're closed. So we don't know if they're squatters. We don't know if you know what I mean? We don't know. We don't know. So I think we should, I'm not sure how to attack the situation, right? But we have to make an initiative. Really, because some of my children back there, they go in the backyard, all of a sudden somebody comes in, I address them a few times or whatever, and they say, oh, well, we know, some of them, they don't even live here. They come with their bikes or whatever it is. I don't know. Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening and stay safe.
Appreciate the comment.
Thank
Yes, of course. However many more.
Jackie Cesaretti, 15599 Goldfinch. The budget, I know, having worked, in different jobs along the way, right? You work on your budget and it's autonomous to your company, right? You don't have other people coming in. And with the city, I don't know if it's different. Does the public ever get the opportunity to sit down like in a workshop just to better understand the budget and maybe make some comments and suggestions on ways to help him get that rate down? Sorry, Ken. Is that something that's possible, or is it maybe, a small group, or if it, is there a way I could volunteer? I'd love to kind of better understand what each line item is in that budget. I've kind of gone through it, but there's so much I don't understand.
We had a budget workshop with the council, 3 weeks ago, I believe it was. I don't believe anybody attended. But it was notified.
Yeah.
It was published. Budget meeting. I think you were here. There was a couple, but there are public meetings, which are budget workshop meetings with the council, which we went through line item by line item, and the council
And
grilled me quite thoroughly
if I
on a
may,
number
though,
of them.
you're still only limited to 3 minutes to talk, right? Because that's what it is for public comments. What I would recommend is, and I'm going to volunteer his time right
Why
now,
not?
is email Ken, ask your questions. He'll email you back. He'll answer them. Then email him back again and go on. It
Or
can
I'll-
help bring clarity.
Or I'll set a meeting with you and we can walk through it and I can explain what we have. Sure. Send me an email and I'll make time to figure out how to walk you through it.
Got it. Sure. State your name and address for the
Yes.
record.
Hi again, this is Andy. I am at 15506 Orchard Drive. I am the vice president of the Groves HOA. I wanted to make a statement in regards to the gentleman that brought up the gators. I did bring it up in a meeting and we did have a discussion on this, and basically that property belongs to Sid. So we as an HOA can't do anything about that as far as I was understanding. So I had the exact same concern, especially after the Disney issue with the gators and other little kids with gator issues. I've noticed, just like he stated, there are a lot of kids that are not from Westlake coming in, especially the lakes are in the front of the groves, fishing there. So it is concerning, and it's definitely something that if the city can do something about that with Sid, that would be great. We definitely don't want to see we don't want to be reactionary. We want to be proactive in preventing a death. Thank you.
So I'll say that, and I'll say it on the record, the fishing is prohibited. It's not allowed in any of Sid's lakes.
Correct.
But I'm also going to say that we are working on a proactive way to designate, hopefully, we're working on a proactive way to designate a fishing area, perhaps in our new city park that will come, that will give an outlet and a safe place for people to go and fish, because it is not allowed, so we're trying to, encourage the lifelong hobby that's been going on forever in a safe manner, but also keep people out of your backyards.
Okay, that's great, but there's really no sign saying there's no prohibition. So that's where the confusion is, because if it's not prohibited, I know we got to dumb it down for everybody sometimes, but as a Florida native, I know you don't go in the lakes, but some people don't understand that. And we've seen plenty of videos. We have a lot of New Yorkers, a lot of California people, they don't understand that the lakes are all filled with them. So I've seen plenty of videos where they're fishing and it comes right out with the fish, the gators. So if we can get some form of sign, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
To the city manager, I know the SID has talked about signs and really doesn't encourage it, but could we get them to, could we convince them
I'll
times
re-
would be appropriate?
I'll reach out to the SID board and see what their feeling is on it. One of the issues is if you start posting signs, you have to post a sign every 500 feet at the property line, which would be at your property line, which nobody would see it except for you. Or you've got to work around them at the bottom. So that's where SID has taken a position. It's a noticed, I believe it's on SID's website and other places, that they are not for fishing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, in public notice. Also, SID has a policy that if anybody falls, if the gator's 6 feet or more, it will be removed. So the smaller ones, they're going to be here. Again, I'm a Miami native, Florida native. I know gators that'll walk 3 or 4 miles, climb fences, et cetera. I mean, you can take an older gator out of here, take him 20 miles away, and in about a year, he'll be back. I mean, that's what they are. So most of them, when they're taken out of here, they go to one of the alligator processing locations and are processed. It would be up at the property line, so.
It's a silly question,
Ken,
but
Yeah.
fair enough.
I'm sorry, one second. Is it trespassing if they're on the SID property fishing?
Correct.
Okay, SID can't have their eyes everywhere. We're gonna need the residents step up, call, SO would come out, talk to them. I'm sure if they come out several times, catch the same person, they'll get in trouble. Okay,
Some of them might be, some of them aren't, but we've been in discussion, Ken and I have talked about it, but they have to get the posting on the lakes because unless they do that, yeah.
got it. Thank you for the clarification.
We're also trying to figure out with both sets of attorneys how we can possibly post at the beginning or entry to the cities or entry to the communities, and it would suffice for the lakes. So we're looking at the legal hurdles that we have to go through to properly do that. It takes time.
It's being worked on.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. Gaston Rubio, 4612 Citrus Blossom Court in the Groves. So I'm kind of glad that you're here because that way one of you will answer the question. For purposes of signage, right? We live in a cul-de-sac and a lot of people don't know that it's a cul-de-sac. So they'll run through there thinking they can cut through. And so who would I ask as to putting a no outlet or dead end
HOA.
sign? So you guys, perfect. That's it. Thank you.
Chad Isaacson, 15398 Goldfinch. For the city manager, since you also manage for SID, can you clarify the election process for the SID members? And before you answer that, I kind of want to open it up to the board. One of the things I noticed, and I could be wrong, but the transparency of the board or the council, I was unaware that SID was a whole separate entity until about a year ago when I was actually going through my documents from my house. And I saw something in there about SID, so I started researching SID and realized they've been here since the 70s. So a lot of citizens have a lot of anger towards you guys because of things SID does, not realizing SID is independent. With that is, how do we as citizens vote for SID since most of our land, or if not all of it, really belongs under the SID authority?
The SID board is elected under its current condition as a landowner's election. There's a landowner's election every year. For the seat, they're elected there's 3 board members. They serve 3 years. Every year there's an election to fill that one seat for the next 3 years. The landowners' elections are notified in accordance with statutes, with all the proper notifications when the paper or wherever it has to be. I don't remember all the details for every landowner's election every year.
Are we considered landowners now?
Yes, you are a landowner.
Okay,
You get
so-
1 vote,
Okay,
So 1 vote per acre, correct?
one vote for acre or portion thereof.
okay.
Yeah.
So when is that in the general election, or is there a whole separate election for that?
It's
Is
a
it-
separate election. It's held in June every year.
Okay, so we just missed this one, so we have to.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. And is there another way, and I know it's a challenge, but, to notify us? I didn't realize we were allowed to come to the budget meeting. I don't recall seeing any of that, so I don't know how you guys notify us. I mean, we don't read papers anymore. So
I believe it's on the website, isn't it?
Yes, it's published just as any other agenda. There's also a budget dashboard that's on the main page on the rotator,
Okay.
maybe about the fourth or fifth
So
rotation.
basically, the only notification is you guys posting it on the city website.
Correct, in accordance with the
Correct.
right statute.
Okay.
Please.
Mr. Mayor, can I just follow up real quick to this gentleman, right on target, Ted Sarandis, 15780 Crestwind. Would you consider a special meeting for the City Council of Westlake and the Seminole Improvement District here at the Lodge for an informational gathering? I went to one meeting at the building. It was 150 degrees in there. The leader of the organization brings his dog, who didn't like me for some reason, and it was challenging, to say the least. This gentleman is right on the money. Most folks who live in the city of Westlake have no idea, and you were the one who informed me when I raised the issue 7 months ago about the roads, that the city of Westlake does not control the roads of the city. The Seminole Improvement District does. So it would be extremely helpful if you and the council would work with Mr. Castle.
If I may, not to interrupt, we do a once a year joint workshop between Sid and the city of Westlake. I believe it's exactly what you're asking for. We just had it. It is publicized.
All right, we missed it.
We do advertise it.
Right.
It was what, 2 months ago
Yeah,
or so, but
about-
it is exactly what you're asking for, and the public is here, and
It was in this room,
and it's in this room.
air conditioned.
Air conditioned,
No dogs.
shit all out.
Maybe have another one,
We have
maybe have another one before,
And
maybe
we
have
have-
two a year. Think about it.
I wouldn't be opposed to 2 a year. I think I even asked for that at the end. I don't know.
I mean, there has to be another way of getting information.
How would you suggest?
So I have a great idea. No, I've been asking for a very long time, and I challenge staff again for a City of Westlake app, an actual application that you can download on your phone. It'll push out all the relative dates, times. I will challenge staff again. I bring it up every year.
It's budget time.
But
Let's-
email is free.
What's that?
Email is free.
Yeah, we do email.
So if we could
There's
just
a
have a
bill.
place where we can send you.
Excuse me,
your email.
ma'am, you need to state your name.
sorry.
You just can't arbitrarily stand up.
If there's some way we could just go to the website and put in our email address to have it be on a list, then you can, every notice you could send via email, it's free. It wouldn't cost anybody anything to do. It's just hitting a button. Like,
No, I
it's
agree. Is
free.
that in place already?
Yes.
Yeah, that exists.
Or maybe a mass text.
We have an email blast already set up. If you sign up, if you go to the website, I believe it's on there. You can sign up if you're interested in an email blast.
Yep. So I encourage everybody to do that now. Go onto the city's website, sign up for the emails. But I also want an app that will do push notifications, messages from the mayor, so on and so forth. Have all your resources in one place, where to pay your bills, your SID bills, your water bills, so on and so forth. And I think at some point I will get what I want, and we will have a City of Westlake app. But I hear your concerns and I agree with you. I would love to see us open this back wall up and have this whole room filled with our residents.
Well, you guys do a great job on promoting the event.
Sir, would you state your name again?
You guys do a great job at promoting the events and everything everywhere. I mean, so I don't understand why it's so hard to promote these meetings, which are a heck of a lot more important than the 4th of July event in the end of the day, because that affects us yearly. So there's definitely got to be a better solution. And I know your app thing, but there's got to be a better solution.
I mean, yeah.
So the email that's in,
Yeah, I think-
see how many people are going home here. It's actually sad. I know he said it's great because there's 30 or 40 people, but in reality, we have how many houses? 2,500?
More than that.
Yeah, I agree.
I know it's
with
not you guys.
No, I think public participation is a benchmark of our democracy. And like I said, I would love to have this opened up and us fill this entire room. People have to want to come, you know?
Or know about it. I happened to see because our HO president posted it, and I was like, oh, that's right, we got that meeting. So if it wasn't for my HOA, I would have forgot.
It's posted on the city's website and calendar on a monthly basis. All the meetings that we have, all the
Always
schedules
the
that are
first
there.
Tuesday of the month. Unless we have to change something for some weird reason, it's always the first Tuesday of the month.
Does mass texting cost money?
Yes, not to you, but the people that own it. Sorry.
We have email
If
blast.
you could state your name and address.
Well,
Yes.
people are suggesting that.
I don't-
So I'm trying to,
Andy,
Right,
Andy
some people-
Cities, 15506 Orchard Drive. Again, as we are the first HOA in the entire city of Westlake that are providing a bulletin board in the mailboxes. So I'm gonna ask you guys if it's okay for us to post these events on our bulletin board.
promote it, yeah.
Okay, perfect, because we want to make sure that everybody's aware, they already know, so we're kind of excited about it, but
Everything that is on the city's website is public information,
all
public
public
domain. Push
perfect.
it out.
I want to make sure I'm not stepping over anything, but,
No, please.
okay, perfect, thank you.
Yeah, listen, if we could afford it, we could hire a skywriter to paint. There's a meeting tonight in the sky,
Miss-
but we can't afford it.
Mr. Mayor.
Um,
A selfish plug, I guess. Every month, usually second Tuesday of the month, I have a coffee with the manager online that I have very candid conversations, answer any question you want, tell you what's going on. If it's public record, I will divulge it. If it's not public record yet, I may hint that there's stuff coming, but I can't tell you what. But I welcome a lot of you. I see, you're on it all. Believe you started getting on it. There's several others that are on it on a consistent basis. Alicia is definitely on it every month. But from my perspective as the manager, the more you know and understand, the more that you can help kill the bad rumors, the false statements, the things that, like, there was a statement going around that Westlake was going to annex all the property out to the northwest. No, we're not doing that. Things like that. The more you all understand the operation, the connection between the city and SID, the understanding of what their functions are, the better off everybody is. So hope to see you on next Tuesday.
So Andy Cities, 15506 Orchard Drive. This actually, maybe you guys can help because I'm a commercial broker. I've been trying to get Minto to reply back. I do have a commercial developer that wants to develop here, but I haven't been able to hear back. So I know that we're pushing to get this done because we'll help with the taxes. So if there's any way you guys can help me facilitate that conversation, I've sent out 2 emails and had multiple LinkedIn messages, but no response. So it'd be great if we
I
can
gave
get.
you an email address, right?
I used it, yeah. There's
You just get
no
a
response. Yeah, exactly. And I did LinkedIn as
Email
well.
address.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if you guys had maybe access to him because I want to be able to facilitate, get that moving. So, yeah.
Any other questions or comments from the public on any item that was on our agenda or not on our agenda? All right, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 7:43 PM. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Good job.
Great meeting.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th of July.